The new Wegovy pill is now available through Weight Watchers. Powerful GLP-1 results in a simple pill at the lowest price available. And with Weight Watchers, you can get doctor support and personalized nutrition programs. See if you qualify at weightwatchers.com. Ad not reviewed or approved by Novo Nordisk.
How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 1.
Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be delighted to have you. It's an open line Friday. So 877-973-7425. And you can text Eric to 33777. We might as well get this out of the way. Our boomer president shared a stolen election video on his social media account today. And when the video ends, it switches to a video showing Barack Hussein Obama and his wife Michelle as gorillas or monkeys. I am told if you were to continue watching that video, it would also show Joe Biden. Problem is, what Donald Trump showed on his social media account is a stolen election video, recorded screenshot from something online, and then it jumps to like 2 or 3 seconds of Michelle and Barack Obama as apes. Now, some of you will wish to excuse this and say, well, maybe he didn't watch to the end, or, well, I mean, it's not really racist, or, well, this, or, well, that. The problem is the President of the United States of America shared a stolen election video that ended with Michelle Obama and Barack Obama as apes. And if you don't understand how that might just come across as more than a little racist, that's on you, not me. What are we doing here? Are we trying to lose the midterms? Is the president trying to move the midterms? And by the way, this also comes while this other stupid story is going around, that the president of the United States is willing to give Democrats funding for a project if the Democrats will agree to allow him to have his name added to Dulles Airport and to Penn Station. He wants the Trump Penn Station and the Trump Dulles Airport. Naming rights? Really, Mr. President? We're headed into the election, and your big issues are the 2020 stolen election that just got you in trouble because of a racist video at the end of Michelle and Barack Obama attached to it. And you want to name one of the worst airports in America, Dulles, after you. Dulles is not a good airport. No one who goes to Dulles thinks Dulles is a good airport. I have to be at Dulles in a couple of weeks. It's not a good airport. And the president literally wants to hold hostage funding for a project in exchange for having the airport and Penn Station in New York, also not a great train station, named after the president. Y'all, come on now. This is nuts. This is absurd. This is an 80-year-old who no one can restrain, no one wants to restrain, no one wants to intervene with. He's going to get impeached. He's going to become a lame duck very quickly. He's already started. He's hurting himself. And I don't know how you go to Donald Trump and say, dude, you're not just hurting your entire agenda. You're going to hurt the Republicans. You're going to get the Republicans wiped out. It's going to be on you. Your lack of discipline is going to sabotage everything you've wanted to do. Think about this. He came into office. He got Doge started. Doge made all the cuts. The Republicans in Congress just wiped out most of Doge's cuts. They restored the cuts. They restored the funding, and Donald Trump signed it all back into law. So all the original signature stuff of Doge and the cuts to government have all been undone by Republicans with Donald Trump's blessing. What are we doing here? I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's appalling. The people are like, well, maybe he didn't see the end of the video. He's the president of the United States of America. Stop excusing everything he does. At some point, the president needs to understand you're going to lose the midterms. You're going to get impeached. You're going to be stymied. You're going to possibly lose the Senate. You're going to wipe out the Republicans. It's not just about you, sir. It's about all of us, the things we voted for. You as the vehicle with the Republicans, some of what you've done, some of what you haven't done, all of which is going to be undone by Democrats if you keep on the way you're going. There's time to reset, and you have to reset. The fact of the matter is the president has lost the trust of most of the American people, and they're going to punish the Republicans. The middle finger of the majority of Americans will be hoisted at the Republicans in November if the president's behaviors and impulses and strategies or lack thereof don't change. You just the tough love aspect of this, and I know nobody wants to say it. Everyone wants to circle around the president like, oh, actually, the polling is fantastic. Oh, actually, this. Oh, actually, that. And I guess I got to be the bearer of the bad news. I got to be the one trying to keep everybody honest. And I got to be the one to make you guys mad by telling you what's going on. Or I did not expect to start my show today on a presidential tweet or Truth Social post, whatever they call it at Truth Social, which is still stupid. I don't know why he's over there. Can someone at least watch the videos before they go live, and maybe not Stephen Miller, someone else who has a better sense of what normal people react to? Can someone just please, Mr. President, please, will you allow, before you hit send, Susie Wiles, hilariously, has a TV screen in her office that regularly refreshes Truth Social so that she can see when the president has posted stuff. Did y'all know this? This was in her profile. In whatever magazine it was that did the profile of Susie Wiles, they said she's got a screen in the White House that constantly refreshes every time the president puts something on Truth Social so she can be ahead of the game and know what he's posted. Can we at least get the president to promise and keep the promise that he'll let Susie look at the videos before they're posted, please? Let's talk about voter ID. Voter ID is extremely popular in the United States. According to Harry Itten, who is the CNN data analyst, voter ID has support of an overwhelming majority of Black Americans, white Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, Democrats, Republicans, independents. The only people who are opposed to voter ID are the Democrat interest groups, the donor class. And I thought it was very remarkable. Abby Phillips on CNN last night. Maybe it shouldn't be remarkable given the struggle session on CNN, the way it goes. It's struggle session with Abby Phillips, and the tagline is, but Scott, always correcting Scott Jennings, no one else. And there was this.
There is real substance here. I mean, you mentioned maybe younger voters, even voters of color, but actually there's also concerns that a lot of rural voters might be disenfranchised by this. And in general, more than 9%, according to the Brennan Center analysis, 9% of American citizens of voting age, 21.3 million people, don't have proof of citizenship readily available. At least 3.8 million don't have these documents at all because they were lost, destroyed, or stolen. Over 8% of self-identified white Americans don't have citizenship documents readily available. A large percentage of Americans don't have passports, many of them in red states. So, I mean, I get the idea that Republicans think that this is like a one-up on voter ID, but it could also be something that kind of is like the door slamming them right back in the face.
She's relying on the Brennan Center, which is a left of center group. And by the way, you should know that it's not hard to get your citizenship. I had to get my passport, which was long expired, renewed. Really wasn't that hard. I think the reason Republicans are doing this, which they danced around on CNN, is there's a growing effort by Democrats to allow non-citizen voting in the United States of America. And you can't you can't talk about the issue without that. It is illegal for non-citizens to vote in the United States of America under federal law. However, there are non-citizen voting in a number of states, in local elections in Montpelier, Vermont. In 11 cities in Maryland, there are local elections where you can vote as a non-citizen in the United States of America. San Francisco has attempted to allow non-citizens to vote in local elections. And as this happens, by the way, if you want it, Maryland ended non-citizen voting in state and federal elections in 1851, but allowed local municipalities to change it. So Barnesville, Chevy Chase, Section 3 and 5, Edmonston, Garrett Park, Glen Echo, Greenbelt, Hyattville, Martin's Additions, Mount Rainier, Riverdale, Somerset, and Tacoma Park, Maryland, allow local elections by non-citizens. In San Francisco, non-citizens get to vote in school board elections. In Vermont, Montpelier, non-citizens get to vote. In the District of Columbia, non-citizens who have resided for at least 30 days get to vote on local matters. Now, a lot of times those local elections are held at different times, but overwhelmingly Americans oppose non-American citizens voting in American elections, and yet we've got very progressive enclaves in the country that have done this. So don't say it's not happening. This is what they did with the trans fight, too. With transgenderism, they said it's not happening, it's never going to happen, and then when it did happen, they said, well, it's not a very big deal. It doesn't affect you. Shut up, bigot. That's essentially what they're doing with the elections now, too. The SAVE Act would require only American citizens vote. And by the way, if you've gone through the Real ID process, you're already probably certified. You're already in some database somewhere verifying whether or not you're not a U.S. citizen. They can make it easy to verify your citizenship status, by the way. The idea that, oh, well, people don't have a passport, it could be hard. Rural Americans could be impacted. They always say this, by the way. They said the same thing with voter ID. Voter ID, they oppose that. The Democrats overwhelmingly oppose it. They don't want to do it. They're going to block that part of the SAVE Act altogether that would require voter ID. You know, 37 states out of 50 already have voter ID. Even Barack Obama, when he voted, had to present his photo ID to vote back when he was president of the United States. There's video of him doing it. The Democrats don't want it because the Democratic Party's donor class has been radicalized against it. The Democratic Party donor class is convinced it's voter suppression. Never mind black Americans like the idea. And it hasn't impacted black Americans. You know, they claimed it would be Jim Crow 2.0 in Georgia if you passed the voter ID reforms in Georgia. We did. And guess what? Didn't disenfranchise anyone. And now they're like, this is Jim Crow 2.0. When are we getting to Jim Crow 3.0? We already had Jim Crow 2.0. And now they're like, this is Jim Crow 2.0. No, that was the Georgia legislation. I think this is 3.0 now. Maybe the All-Star game, baseball is going to ban the All-Star. We're going to have to go to Canada. We're going to have to send the All-Star game to Canada if Americans pass voter ID, like in Georgia when they passed Jim Crow 2.0. And everybody got upset about it. Y'all, it's nonsensical. It makes a lot of sense. The fact that CNN is relying on liberal data to try to poo-poo the idea should tell you everything you need to know about it. The overwhelming majority of the data says black voters, white voters, Hispanic voters, Asian voters, male voters, female voters, Republicans, even Democrats support photo ID for voting in this country. The only people who don't are the progressive partisan activists who have made it a hill to die on, and the Democrats are beholden to that class of voter.
Imagine you're a business owner relying on a dozen different software programs. Each one is expensive, overly complicated, and worst of all, none of them are connected. It can be incredibly stressful, right? Now, picture Odoo. CRM, accounting, inventory, manufacturing, marketing, HR, and more. Odoo brings all the tools your business needs into one simple platform, and all seamlessly connected. Everything works together, giving you the peace of mind that your business is running smoothly from every angle. Odoo's open source applications are user-friendly and designed to scale with your business, saving you time and money. Say goodbye to juggling multiple platforms and hello to efficient integrated management. Stop wasting resources on complicated systems and make the switch to Odoo today. Visit odoo.com, ODOO.com, and discover how Odoo can simplify and streamline your business operations. Odoo, modern management made simple.
Well, good news for the Canadians. Quebec's liquor board has returned American products to its shelves. Turns out that in addition to it costing the Canadians a lot of money to not sell the American liquor they had already purchased, the Canadians really like our bourbon, and there was a revolt among Canadians. Remember, Quebec took the liquor off the shelves to respond to American tariffs, but they've now put it back. Canadians like our bourbon. Also, you should know there is some news. The White House has now taken down the video of the Obamas as apes, saying a White House staffer mistakenly or erroneously put it on the president's Truth Social account. And now the Trump diehard supporters are like, see, it was a mistake. Y'all, I'm sorry, but when the president of the United States puts something on Truth Social, it's the president of the United States. It wasn't designated as a staffer. They're not going to fire the staffer, are they? They say it's a mistake. No, I'm sorry. If you're not watching the video, it's incompetence. And so either there's incompetence and the person needs to be fired, or the president takes ownership because it was his account and he's letting someone else do it. I mean, the spin from people trying to justify this, see, it was erroneous, it was a mistake, and you people pounced. It sat there for hours as people complained. Did no one in the White House pay attention? Who was asleep at the switch? That's not on me or anyone else who called this out. That's on the White House for leaving it up for multiple hours while people were complaining and not immediately saying, why did someone put this on the president's account? And the president himself has often said it's him doing these sorts of things, putting these things up. What it also says is that someone in the White House decided to stir the stolen election pot and attribute it to the president. It just, y'all, someone's got to be held accountable for this stuff at some point. Holy moly. I don't get it. Now, I do get Old Glory Bank. They're a great, great bank. They're my bank. OldGloryBank.com/Eric is where you go. You can get a checking account. You can get a savings account. You can get mortgages. You can get CDs, business accounts. If you're an active duty military, you can get waivers for the premium accounts that do interest-bearing checking, things like that. They're a bank about freedom. They're a bank about your freedom. They're one of the fastest-growing banks in the country. They're an online bank, but they figured out how to deposit cash and the like. OldGloryBank.com/Eric is where you want to go. OldGloryBank.com/ERICK. You go get your checking account from Old Glory Bank or your savings account. If you're a business, they're very hands-on with your business, and they're going to protect your right to be a conservative business. They're going to protect your banking interests at OldGloryBank.com/Eric. OldGloryBank.com/ERICK. I've been a customer of theirs. Before they were an advertiser, I was a customer of theirs, and I've been very pleased with them. You will be too. OldGloryBank.com/ERICK. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply. Welcome back. It's Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425 should you wish to be on the program. Y'all. trying not to get a migraine from this. The White House has taken down the video that portrayed Michelle Obama and Barack Obama as apes. And now they say it was placed there not by the president on his account, but by a staffer on the president's account. And I just saw a Christian writer say, hey, guys, it wasn't really racist because if you watch the whole video, Michelle and Barack Obama are apes, but several other black politicians are in there and they're not apes. But Joe Biden's a baboon. Do you even hear yourself speaking? Okay. Let's just treat this for what it is. A staffer in the White House with access to President Trump's True Social account put up the video. It ended with a little clip of Barack and Michelle Obama as apes. And Trump supporters were like, oh, thank God he didn't mean to do it. And by the way, if you look at the whole video, it wasn't really racist. Just that one little clip by itself might have been, but it really wasn't. And it wasn't him. It was a staffer. Hallelujah. Do you hear yourselves? We're less than 11 months from the midterms. The Democrats are going up in the generic ballot. The president's unfavorability ratings are going up. The Republicans have to be on their A game on every single thing to mitigate as much damage as they possibly can on this. And you guys are like, well, if you watch the whole video, it wasn't really racist because there were other politicians in there portrayed as apes who were white. And some of the black politicians were portrayed as meerkats and turtles. Do you even hear yourselves? I'm beating my head on the desk because, my gosh, every time this happens, it's just another sign of incompetence when we need as much competence as we can to beat the Democrats in November. Some of y'all are going to get to November. The Democrats might actually win this thing well, and you'll act like you never saw it coming. And I at least need you to be aware that it is a real possibility, so you might actually try to mitigate it. The president's team has got to be on their A game. Can we have Susie Wiles police more stuff? Listen. I'm trying not to be a beat up on the Trump team day, but somebody has got to tell them, you people have got to be, in all cases, firing on all cylinders and be as competent as you were at the end of the campaign in 2024. Have you all gotten so exhausted you've let your guard down and your competence is on the way? We're dealing with deeply incompetent stuff. And then to say, well, see, it was posted in error. That doesn't actually defend the situation because no one should be posting this sort of stuff on the president's True Social account without some actual vetting. And on top of that, to then come out and say, well, I mean, it wasn't really racist because, yeah, Michelle and Barack Obama were gorillas. But, I mean, if you see the rest of the video, all the Democrats were portrayed as animals. We're really not putting up our best, are we? The president is being poorly served by any staffer who would do that. Can you at least fire the guy? They're not going to because this president won't fire anyone who shows them abject loyalty, but these people just keep causing problems. If it's not him, it was someone else, that person caused the president problems. And you know, some of the news they overshadowed was that we've now gotten one of the people behind the Benghazi operation, and that could have been the big story this morning, and it was started to be the big story until this showed up on the president's True Social account. And the media's like, oh, my God, that's a racist meme. Tim Scott, Roger Wicker, other Republicans in Congress came out, Mike Lawler, saying, dude, what is this? If this is real, this is bad. Just completely a White House staffer, access to the president's True Social account, completely upended the president's news cycle, and that kid's not going to be fired, whoever it was. And they should be. If there's not going to be consequence in the White House for this level of gross incompetence, it's going to keep happening. It's not even what I wanted to talk about right now. What I wanted to talk about was the arrest of the attempted murder. Have you heard about this of Russ Vought? Now, the story is actually from months ago, but we now have follow-up story that the guy who showed up at Russ Vought's house to try to kill him has been charged with attempted murder. Let me get the right story here. I had it, and then my computer decided to die, or at least my web browser did. Let me pull it back up. Yep, here we go. Yes, the Maryland man who said he feared Donald Trump's agenda and would lead to a fascist takeover is facing attempted murder charges. On January 22nd, Arlington County Police arrested Colin DeMarco. He's age 26. Colin DeMarco, enraged by Project 2025 and the media's rhetoric on Project 2025, began being convinced that President Trump is going to lead to a fascist takeover of America. He echoed the talking points you hear on MS Now. So he showed up at my friend Russ Vought's house and attempted to murder Russ Vought. He was wearing a surgical mask and gloves. He wanted to kill Russ Vought. Now, the court records say that his murder victim had the initials RV and was a presidential appointee. We now know he was targeting Russ Vought. Now, for those of you who don't know, Russ Vought's a longtime friend of mine. The only time I ever won fantasy football was when Russ picked my team for me, and then they banned me from being in the league since Russ is the one who picked my team for me. Russ is a very good guy, God-fearing man, great father. And this guy wanted to murder my friend Russ because of a political disagreement. I just keep being reminded how the media always lectures Republicans on their language. You had Abby Phillips on Struggle Session on CNN the other day. After Alex Pretty's shooting, talk about the president needing to tone it down. Never mind that Tim Walz and Jacob Frey were talking about an invasion and an war with the federal government and the Gestapo and the Nazis. No, it was Donald Trump. It's always the Republicans who need to turn down the rhetoric. And yet Charlie Kirk has now been murdered. There's an attempted assassination twice of Donald Trump. The attempted murder of Russell Vought. And yet there's no policing of the language on the left. I mean, remember, after Donald Trump was nearly assassinated, the rhetoric on MS Now and even some talking heads on other news networks was, well, he kind of brought it on himself with his rhetoric. The left is growing increasingly violent. Luigi Mangione murdering an insurance executive. The guy out in Utah murdering Charlie Kirk, the attempted murder of the president, the attempted murder here, other attacks on ICE and Border Patrol agents around the country. The left continues to grow more and more violent. The trans shooter at the Catholic Church in Minnesota, the storming into the church in St. Paul, Minnesota, and then justifying it as exercising their First Amendment right. The left is getting more and more violent, and you don't see the media trying to rein it in. If anything, the media is amplifying it. If anything, the media is stirring the pot. The media is complicit in driving these people nuts. The media seems to be in on trying to get Republicans killed these days. These are not healthy times for the country. And they keep wanting to pretend that all the violence is coming from the right. Even on CNN, some woman the other day claimed that Charlie Kirk's assassin was actually a right-winger. It's not true. This isn't going to end well for all of us, And the American media has a role to play, and the role they've chosen to play is instigator of this left-wing insanity. It's not going to end well. Now, I want to jump to the phones real quick before I go to commercial break. Chad in Montgomery, welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Hey, long time no talk to. How you doing?
Good.
Wanted to throw my 2 cents in about the SAVE Act, and one of the things that Democrats do, and Schumer, when he was interviewed on MS Now yesterday, proved it. They just think that history ended at 1965, right? And I've been involved in civil rights litigation for a lot of my career. And I was involved in the redistricting litigation and wrote an amicus brief to the Supreme Court for the legislature back in 2014. Almost every state that has had a voter ID bill passed, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, has had a tremendous increase in the number of black voter registrations, so much so that black registration exceeds white registration per capita in every one of those states. Mm-hmm. So they always argue that, this is an effort to keep minorities from voting, or they're going to be dissuaded from getting IDs and all that. None of the data supports that, not one bit. In Alabama, in 2004, 2008, 2012, 16, 20, and 24, in general elections, the Alabama black voter participation exceeded white voter participation in every one of those races. And I can tell you that's the same in Georgia and in North Carolina, where the Democrats fought all those redistricting, and then they also fought every voter ID bill. But there's no empirical evidence that supports anything. And if I were a minority, I would say, this is actually helping us because we've increased our voter registration.
Yeah, look, I mean, you've got the data on your side here. And by the way, for those of you who have never heard what Chad is saying, he's absolutely right. Black voter participation in Georgia went up after they allegedly passed Jim Crow 2.0 here in Georgia, which required voter ID, including tied to absentee ballots. They don't care about the facts. And, to your point, Chad, as well, you talk about they're stuck in the 1960s. What I really think this is that Democrats, ever since the 1960s, they've wanted their Selma moment. And they need their Selma moment. This is why they march in the streets for everything. We're going to get into the Omni Cause, actually, at the top of the next hour. But every Democrat believes that they need to march in the streets to have their Selma moment. And they pick some of the dumbest things with which to have their Selma moments. And they need their Selma moment. It makes them feel virtuous. It makes them feel righteous. It makes them feel as if they're changing things in the country. It's why so much of the Democratic Party protests these days. That and it is a religious experience for them. It is very much a religious movement on the left now to engage in these sorts of protests and to have these by faith beliefs too. It is by faith, the Democratic Party, that the black voters could not vote if they had to show voter ID. And never mind the data. If someone tomorrow found the grave of Jesus of Nazareth, if someone tomorrow found the grave of Jesus of Nazareth, and we could be sure that it absolutely was him, we would know for certain the grave was found and unmistakably this is the man people thought was the Christ. Clearly, it's not. Here's his body. I would stop being a Christian. Because by faith, I believe Christ rose again from the dead. If you could actually find the body of the man Jesus tomorrow, and we all say, yep, this is the guy, that's him. Turns out he didn't rise from the dead after all. I'd stop being a Christian because by faith, I believe he rose again from the dead. But we've already found the data that shows the black vote has gone up in states after voter ID, and yet by faith, the Democrats still believe that it will hinder Democrats from voting and hinder black people from voting. Now, my faith in Christ rising again from the dead is a rational belief, and if somehow his body were found tomorrow, I would abandon the belief. It's not going to be found because he did rise from the dead. But it's a rational belief that given the confirmed contradictory evidence, I would have to abandon it. The Democrats, you can see the evidence constantly that the black vote goes up after voter ID is passed. Why? Because they are so committed to their right to vote. They go out and they take the steps they need to make sure they vote because historically they were denied the right to vote. So they want the right to vote. So they go do what they can to make sure they vote. And the vote goes up. And yet Democrats, despite all the evidence, are like, no, it's going to suppress the non-white vote. No, it's not. But your donors who give you the money care about the cause. So who cares about black voters and their vote? It's the money the Democrats care about, and the money comes from groups that are opposed to this. Hi there, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. This hour of the program is brought to you by Van Allen Golf. ALLEN, vanallengolf.com. They make the putter that is in my golf bag, and everyone who uses this putter is enamored with it. In fact, my golf club in Atlanta has decided they liked it so much they're going to do an event with them and let them show folks. You can get in on this early, vanallengolf.com, or text golf to 33777. Phenomenal equipment if you're into golf. Phenomenal equipment. Okay, I just let me do a real reset here because I'm aggravated by everybody. Let's take the White House at its word that a staffer posted this video. The spin is that this wasn't a video; it was reels, and the next reel that came up was the Obama ape video, except that's not true. It was a screen record of a stolen election reel that then flipped to the next one, and it left in the Michelle Obama stuff before it stopped. That could have been edited out, and it wasn't. So a staffer put up a video. They could have trimmed out the racist part. They chose not to. And you have the Trump supporters out there who are spending an inordinate amount of time defending it, saying it was an error, saying it was a reel, saying it was an accident, saying it's not true. This is what the Democrats did with Joe Biden. Every time Joe Biden flubbed something, every time it came out that reporters had pre-submitted questions, they gaslit us, they bullied us, they denied it was true. They said it wasn't a problem. And instead of fixing the problems, instead of fixing the incompetence, they went to their political graves. I do not want the president and the GOP to go to their political graves in November because I know how bad it would be. Look at what is happening in Virginia. They need to fix this. They need to fix this. Folks, let me tell you about my Eden Pure Thunderstorm. You can get 3 of them and you can save $200 at EdenPureDeals.com, EdenPureDeals.com. You put in the discount code ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com. They're air purifiers. They get rid of pollen. They get rid of dust. They get rid of pet dander. They also eliminate odors. They kill 99.9% of bacteria and viruses as well, but they eliminate all odors. They generate ozone. And the ozone is like odor bleach, and it gets to where the odors came from, and it really, really works. You can get 3 of them, save $200, EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, EdenPureDeals.com, discount code ERIC3.